So fun fact, I've wanted to do a video on Helluva Boss for a while. It's one of my favorite series, and I have a lot to say about it. The only problem is that I wasn't sure what to talk about in a video. Eventually, I decided the best place to start was to talk about my favorite character, Verosika Mayday. While I do enjoy almost every character from the series, Verosika is easily my favorite. I'd even say she's had more character growth than Millie or Luna, and they're in almost every episode. However, it's easy to tell people what you like. It's the why part they want to know. So why is Verosika my favorite, besides being a succubus? Don't judge me. Well, let's start with Verosika's introduction to the series.
Oh shit! Verosika!
Blitzo.
Verosika made her debut in episode 3, Spring Broken. We see she's a pop star, and more importantly, in terms of the plot, used to date Blitz. We also see they didn't break up on the best of terms.
Oh no, you are not parking here for a fucking week!
Aw, you mad, Blitzo? You gonna run off, leaving someone else to pay for the hotel room, steal their car, and run 3 rings to Rap and max my credit cards on shitty horse riding lessons?
God damn it, whore, you will not let that go!
Choke on a sandpaper cock.
When I first saw this episode, I thought Verosika would be a bitter ex that may appear more down the line. I wasn't expecting her to go much further than that. It also appeared that way for a while, since each episode after was just introducing a new antagonist like the Cherubs or Striker. However, episode 6 changed the way I viewed her and the series as a whole. In the episode Truth Seekers, Blitz and Moxie are captured by a government organization called Dorks. During this, both of them are drugged while being interrogated, and because each episode has to have a song, Moxie and Blitz start to hallucinate. Since this episode was longer, we technically get 2 songs, one from Moxie's hallucination and one from Blitz's. Moxie's drug trip is more in a Disney style as he yells at a vision of Blitz about all his complaints he's been holding inside. What's shocking is how brutally honest he is in this line.
Why does it seem like a recurring thing that you alienate with your toxic routine?
I don't know. Eventually everyone goes.
Because you're thoughtless and cruel and you'll end up alone.
I have to admit, hearing Moxie say that was a little surprising. Usually whenever the two have a back and forth, it's more comedic, such as telling Blitz his art sucks and asking why he doesn't take an art class. I'll come back to this later, but let's talk about what's happening to Blitz during this. While Moxie's hallucination is basically in a Disney musical, Blitz has a mental breakdown. Strangely enough, while they're in their own heads, the thing they have in common is Blitz being confronted for how much of an ass he is. The only difference is it isn't just Moxie calling Blitz out in his hallucination. It's everyone Blitz has had some type of relationship with in the past. When Blitz said he could do this job alone, Striker shows up and says he doesn't like to do things alone. Which makes sense since if that was true, why did he admit to asking Striker to work for him?
It's gonna be nice working with him.
Working? What?
Yeah, I asked him if he wants to join IMP.
Next, Vizarali says that it failed when Blitz tried doing a solo act as a clown. Again, we saw this reference in a previous episode.
I guess the kiddies are still running away from you, huh?
The O is silent now.
Just like your audience always was when you told your lazy jokes here.
Then comes what I wasn't expecting. Verosika shows up and says this.
Still shove away anyone who gets too close until they resent you for being a selfish, shitty shit.
When I first saw that, I was a little caught off guard. Again, I didn't think much of Blitz and Verosika being together when she first appeared. I thought their relationship was only used as a joke, and Blitz was only challenging her because it was his ex that stole a parking spot. I wasn't expecting to hear she genuinely loved him, and he pushed her away to the point they broke up. It's also worth noting that Helluva Boss is great at subverting character tropes, and Verosika isn't the only example. One of my favorite things about Helluva Boss is seeing how you view a character as the series progresses. Characters you hate become characters you like, and vice versa. Probably one of the best examples was Stella. I know this might be hard to believe, but I remember there were videos on YouTube defending Stella. To be fair, that made sense because all we knew then was that Stella cheated on her with Blitz. However, that immediately changed when Season 2 premiered, and we got to see how much of a rotten bitch Stella was.
I know still being married isn't a big enough occasion, but to be fair, it's no picnic being married to a boring stiff like Stolas. No! Stolas is terrible in bed. I swear to fuck, he just lays there staring at the wall and I have to do everything. It's embarrassing. I'm glad one egg fell out of me so I could stop pretending to want to fuck his scrawny twig ass.
Why are you still here? You leave with Fia on weekends, but then you stay around the house despite everything.
I like tormenting you. I want to keep reminding you of what you did.
We are getting the divorce.
How dare you? What do you think the rest of the Goetia family will think? And Drelfus...
I don't care what your arrogant brother thinks.
Honestly, the only thing that would make her more of a bitch at this point is if they got Amber Heard to voice her. My point is, Helluva Boss knows what it's doing to build up characters over time. It feels like they're writing in the long term instead of coming up with things on the spot. We also see more with Verosika when her relationship with Blitz is brought up in episode 7. When Blitz points out he's in the club where Moxie and Millie are spending their anniversary, he gets called out again by, you guessed it,
Verosika, you're here.
A stroke on my plate. Yeah, but when it was my turn, he did no reciprocating. A selfish imp in the sheets, and just as bad in the streets. A reckless, heartbreaking freak.
So yeah, where do I even start? I love Blitz and think he's entertaining. He's currently one of my biggest cosplays. However, this solo made me mad at him. Verosika's solo was her saying, I did everything and you couldn't do the same. In some ways, it reflects what Moxie said during his hallucination, as they both called out Blitz for only caring about himself. The differences are with their wording, and Verosika said this to Blitz instead of a vision of Blitz.
Because you're thoughtless and cruel and you'll end up alone.
A selfish imp in the sheets, and just as bad in the streets. A reckless, heartbreaking freak.
It's important to remember that Moxie only said this because he was drugged and doesn't hate Blitz on that level. However, Verosika has made it clear since she showed up that she doesn't like Blitz, and we're finally hearing why in this episode. Sadly, I can say from experience that I know how Verosika feels. I've constantly done things for people because I genuinely liked them. However, I've also had to deal with knowing those same people didn't feel the same about me. They didn't put in at least half the effort I put in to be the best friend or spouse I could be, and it got to the point it hurt me to think someone I cared about didn't care about me. This is also interesting to think about when you watch Blitz during this. When you see him during Verosika's solo, he looks like he doesn't care what she says at first. He even looks annoyed when she gets in his face. However, when she calls him a heartbreaking freak, he frowns. Like some people have pointed out in comments, it's like he finally realizes how bad he was to her. It wasn't like they were trading insults back when she was first introduced. She was telling him how he broke her heart, and Blitz didn't have anything to say back to her. And before someone says there could be something we haven't seen yet, I think Blitz would have said it by now instead of hiding it. What's more surprising is that I do believe they both still have feelings for each other. At the end of the episode, we see that Blitz still has a photo in his phone of him and Verosika together. Usually, someone keeps photos of their ex if they miss them, especially a photo involving both of them and appearing happy. And like I said, I believe Blitz hearing Verosika say that did open his eyes to how horrible he's been not just to Verosika, but in all his past relationships. Maybe that's what Blitz needed to hear so that he can become a better person. It's easy to put off words from someone that outright insults you. Like if someone puts in a comment for this video, you're a moron and have no idea what you're talking about. That's not meant to be constructive. It's meant to be insulting. You can still take notes from it, but you're more than likely to brush it off because it's just someone insulting you and not even bothering to elaborate further on why they're saying that. In comparison, if someone comments, you spent too much time talking about everyone else and your video sucks for that, it tells me what I did wrong so I can improve my next video. The sucks thing might be overboard, but my point is at least someone is saying why it sucks. Anyways, back on topic. I think Blitz will react differently the next time he and Verosika cross paths. Instead of insulting her the moment he sees her, he may try to talk to her about what he did. I'm not sure if he'll be at the level of apologizing, but I say he at least knows what he did wrong. To add to that, I do think Verosika would be willing to talk to Blitz about this. I'm not saying they'd immediately get back together, but I could see Verosika willing to at least be on speaking terms with Blitz. Heck, another comment pointed out that she cared enough to point out what's wrong with him in her solo without making it a joke. Another thing of note, personally, There are many people I used to consider my friend that I've had a falling out with for various reasons. However, I'd at least hear them out if they were willing to talk to me. I'd still bring up my problems with them that contributed to that falling out, but I'd be willing to hear their side and try to find some common ground. Whether or not Verosika is the same way isn't what I look at as a reason for her being my favorite character. Verosika is my favorite because she reminds me you can't be afraid to call out people who treat you like crap, regardless of how close they are to you. Also, her being a succubus is another plus as well. Again, don't judge me. I'm not sure where Verosika will go moving forward in this series. I hope we get at least one episode showing her past relationship with Blitz during Season 2, and hopefully see them having to team up for whatever reason. Either way, Verosika reminds me what it's like to feel unloved by someone you care about, and that I shouldn't be afraid to call them out for treating me like crap. That's why she's my favorite character in Helluva Boss, and why I'm excited to see where her story goes next. As always, I'm interested to hear what all of you think. Do you like Verosika? Do you think she'll have a major part in Season 2? Let me know in the comments, as well as who your favorite character from Helluva Boss is. I might consider making a video about them in the future. Also, if you're curious why I have a thing for succubi, blame cosplayers like Megaloo Cosplays, who have done amazing cosplays of succubi characters, such as the succubus version of Charlie from Hazbin Hotel. I also interviewed them in the past, so if you're not sure who that is, please check out my interview with her. And with that shameless plug out of the way, I'm Marco Strange. Stay safe, stay strange.